I need to. We should put like a little thing at the end, like Michelle is not a paid actor. She, a real
She's
person.
not this is not a paid endorsement.
This is a real person.
This is a real person who really uses Minga. And so, the past year, it's been a growing thing for us, that we've been really looking specifically at how do we build better community in an online way? Because our teachers do have really great connections with our students.
Yeah.
And
so
sometimes
you guys are relationship first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so that part wasn't in question. I think it's just been a question of the greater sense of community, like connecting students to each other, connecting parents to the wider community, because it can be really isolating to have your student learning from home.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So how are you guys so you said that's, you guys are kind of working towards improving that all the time. Like, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, so the past year, we've kind of been exploring how could we promote better community within our online school, and we realized that one of the missing pieces was for lack of a better word, I guess, platform where everybody could see, like, that transparency, like our learning management system, which is essentially a virtual classroom, is great, but it's still just like, it's like logging into one Zoom room. Like, you're just here, I'm in my Zoom call, and you kind of don't see all the other Zoom calls that are happening. Yeah. And so we started to explore what the possibilities were for, and we have a Facebook page, and we have an Instagram page, and we have a blog on our website, but it's like, how do we connect all of that and create like a sense of like, there's one place that you go, because not everybody's on Facebook. Yeah. And not everybody checks the blog, Yeah. So, that's kind of how we landed on Minga, because we were exploring this, we were looking at what our options were. And there are, to be fair, lots out there, lots of things. But my youngest son just graduated from high school, and his school district uses School Messenger, which is an app that's on your phone. But it really is just like attendance and like school-wide announcements. There's no community there. So, we looked at all the things. There's so many, there's like Fresh Grade, there's like, and you can leverage whatever you need. But then we were like, yeah, but that's still not right. And then we were like, what about Minga? Like, I've heard about Minga, I know about Minga, but I don't really know what it is. So then, I think that's when we contacted you and said like, hey, can you do a demo?
Yeah, I'm smiling and I'm chuckling just to keep this as genuine as possible, because I did not mean to set up. Like,
no, I know you didn't, but
that's perfect.
No, but it's for real. Like,
cool.
I know. It's like
I had that moment as we were going. I was like, oh, I did not mean that was, but great. Also, we'll take it. Well,
teed it off.
Yeah, perfect.
No, I know you were. You're just like, how did you arrive? But like, legitimately true. We were looking, and so we kind of had explored all the things that are kind of out there, and nothing really kind of like resonated, because it's like you can use social media for your school platform, but it's not designed for a school.
Right.
And then there are platforms that are designed for schools that don't really do what we wanted them to do. Like Fresh Grade, sure, is great if you're using it as like a online portfolio and a communication between teacher and parent and student, that transparency. School Messenger is really just School Messenger, like, my kid is going to be late, and here's my school fees.
Right, yeah.
But we wanted something that was a little bit more like just bright and inviting, and that is what we saw. Like, it's funny because you did the demo for Sammy and I, and the rest of the team, and we were all like, okay, we were like, where do we sign? Like, should we make the checkout to Minga? Minga.com? Like, because it hit all of the things that we wanted. And it's really fascinating to me how parents are just, teachers, for one thing, teachers are using it. There's, they're creating arts clubs and, teacher groups where they're doing like show and tells and like meetups where, elementary school teachers are, doing online story time with their classes. And, you've got like a high school arts club happening. And I know there's a teacher who's like trying to start like an online choir, basically, like a singing group, a music group. And that just would not have happened before.
Right.
Like, because we were leveraging email, which is great, but, we all know we're buried under an avalanche of emails.
Right.
And so, is it important? Like, that's the thing. Parents are opening emails and going like, is this important? Do I need to respond to this? Mm-hmm. Oh, it's like an announcement about a club. Like, pff,
yeah.
And then it's gone. It's not in your mind anymore. So moving away from just being completely reliant on emails to communicate everything about the school, but also bringing a little bit of fun and like a sense of like connectedness into how we communicate with families about things. So even just silly things, like little things like having the school calendar live in Minga rather than them just getting an email alert every time there's a calendar alert.
Right. So with that, you feel everyone is more connected. There's an enjoyment element of it, and you don't, as an online school, you don't need to have physical events or all these things that might happen in a brick and mortar school to build a sense of school community.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I need to. We should put like a little thing at the end, like Michelle is not a paid actor. She's a real
She's
person.
Not this is not a paid endorsement.
This is a real person.
This is a real person who really uses Minga.
Who really uses Minga and believes in it.
We're not paying her to use it.
No, we paid Michelle to say these things and use it at our school.
This is a sponsored ad.
This is a sponsor ad. Well, that's great. That's like obviously I love hearing that. That's perfect, especially as the person who talked to you about it. This would have went south if you had.
We hate it. You suck, Pete.
You suck, Pete. Yes, but specifically me.
Specifically you. It's all your fault.
Where do you see you guys using it as you move forward?
Yeah, I feel like the sky is the limit. Like we kind of said to our team when we introduced Minga, like we did some demos and we showed them what it could do, and we kind of explained like what the purpose was and how we, like, the framework that we had landed on with your help was, let's use it as a school calendar, let's use it as a school announcement platform first, and then we can continue to add rich content. And so we just said to our teachers during Pro D, when we did sort of a bit of a demo / training session, use your imagination. Like, don't limit yourself by it needs to just be classroom announcements or homework reminders or, report card reminders. Like, don't run with it. And so immediately we had teachers going like, oh, can I have a Minecraft club? And we're like, yes. And we had teachers going, oh, can I have like my own homeroom where I invite parents and students and, let them know about, show and tells or, field trips that might be planned, because there are certain cohorts that are local, so they can get together for field trips. And we're like, yes. And so you could see the wheel start to turn pretty much immediately.
Cool.
Yeah. So I feel like the potential is exponential with Minga for us as an online school, because we don't have any other platform that's self-contained where we're inviting, like, you could say to families, hey, we have a Facebook group, you should join it, but we can't really invite them to that.
Right.
We can send them a link to it, but whether they join is up to them. Whereas with Minga, we can very purposefully be like, we have all of your email addresses because email is kind of part of the thing with an online school,
Yeah.
and we're going to invite you, and we're going to invite you again if you don't. And eventually, like, yeah, so we've got right now, I would say, and this is early stages still, so it's, conservative in the first like 2 months of school, less than 2 months of school. We have more than half, I would say almost close to 3/4 of our families have like bought in already.
Wow.
Yeah.
And mid-October too.
Yeah.
That's great. Have you guys tried Studio yet? Have you been digging into Studio, the Studio feature? It's
I
brand.
think my VPs have been digging into it because they've been planning to leverage it for some things.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that is kind of next on the agenda to look at as part of our professional development staff meeting
It's
like
brand new,
feature.
and it's cool.
Yeah.
And it's gonna get cooler.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like we're loving it so far. Like it really has already. And it's interesting because more so our new families have jumped in with both feet. Like
Right.
they're like, you know, posting pictures of their kids doing cool things, and like they're active. They're like wanting to be part of it. So that to me is a really good sign when you've got new families who are, you know, overwhelmed with the startup of something they've never done before, and they're willing to jump in and do something and be part of something that, you know, yeah, it's a good sign, because typically new parents are kind of like, whoa, deer in headlights, like I'm overwhelmed, there's too much going on. And instead it's the opposite. They're just like, oh, I love Minga, like how do I do more on there?
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, slow down. Also, I have to say, and maybe this is just my jaded, I've been in this for a long time, I'm always hesitant to introduce something new to my staff team,
Right.
right? Because it's like, oh, here's another thing we have to do, or here's another thing we have to use. And so I was like, oh, okay, I think this is a great thing. The admin team thinks it's a great thing. What's the reaction from the teaching staff going to be? Because if there is a tougher crowd out there,
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah.
It's a tough crowd, right?
Right.
And they were honestly across the board, except for maybe one person who has like a visceral aversion to anything that looks like social media.
Fair.
Everybody was just like, cool, cool. Like, I can't wait to get in there and use it and explore. So, to me, that's again, a telling thing
Yeah.
that they were willing to jump in, because if it had been something that was like that one extra thing that wasn't like usable or beneficial, then trust me, we would have heard about it loudly.
So what did you say? Did it click right away? Oftentimes when because this comes up every time we try and roll out to a new school, right? It's always that exact same thing where you say, like, there's teachers who are just like, I don't need one more thing on my plate. Things
Yeah.
are busy enough. I don't know what we're doing new tech. Are we going to switch new tech next year or in 2 years? Am I learning this whole thing and then I need to forget about it and do something else? What was the difference? Or even how did you go about introducing it to your colleagues and your staff?
Well, I think it's that theme of building community has always been a topic of conversation, because, we teach in an online reality. However, nobody goes through doing their education degree thinking, yeah, I'm going to be in front of a computer, like in my home, like designing lessons online and like Zooming with my students, right? Like teachers envision themselves in a classroom with their students face to face. So the teachers that are attracted to, online teaching for various reasons, with our school, it typically tends to be, they really see the potential for their students, and they love the fact that their job is a part of a flexible lifestyle. Like you don't have to show up at a building at 8 o'clock every morning and stay until 3:30 or 4,
Yeah.
which has its appeal. But the one thing that they all would say is missing is that community connection piece. And so introducing something that was going to remove the enormous amount of emails they have to send for some, like there's still stuff you have to email parents, like that's,
Yep.
you're never going to get away from
Yep.
that. But like this, if we can even take like, half of your emails and then turn them into Minga announcements or Minga group announcements, and then you're also creating that sense of community. It really wasn't a hard sell.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, they were pretty excited about the idea
Right.
because we experience, I think the world is experiencing a level of email fatigue that we experience normally
Yeah.
in online school.
Right.
So if we can cut that down by even a third, we're like, it's great.